Welcome, wanderers of the dark and seekers of the unknown, to Whispers on the Asphalt, your go-to channel for spine-tingling tales and haunted histories. Here, we explore the eerie corners of the world where shadows stretch longer than they should and the hum of tires on pavement is often accompanied by whispers from beyond. Today, we embark on a chilling journey along some of the most haunted highways in the Pacific Northwest, a region renowned for its breathtaking landscapes, dense forests, and a rich tapestry of folklore that blurs the line between myth and reality. The Pacific Northwest, with its mist-shrouded mountains, winding coastal roads, and endless stretches of wilderness, has long been a breeding ground for ghostly legends and unexplained phenomena. These highways, carved through rugged terrain and steeped in history, are more than mere conduits for travel. They are corridors of mystery, where the past lingers like fog over a moonlit lake. From spectral hitchhikers to phantom vehicles, from cursed landmarks to blood-soaked stretches of asphalt, these roads hold secrets that defy explanation and challenge the boundaries of belief. In this two-part series, we will peel back the layers of the supernatural, revealing the haunting stories behind the region's most infamous routes. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, prepare to have your curiosity piqued and your courage tested as we delve into the unknown. So buckle up, keep your headlights on, and join us as we navigate the shadowy highways of the Pacific Northwest. Let the journey begin. The sinister allure of South Carolina's most haunted places. South Carolina, a state steeped in history and Southern charm, is more than just its picturesque landscapes, antebellum homes, and moss-draped oaks. Beneath its serene exterior lies a shadowy world where the past refuses to rest, a realm of whispered legends, spectral encounters, and chilling mysteries that have haunted residents and visitors alike for generations. From the cobblestone streets of Charleston to the dense swamps of the Lowcountry, this storied state harbors some of the most haunted places in America, each with its own dark tale waiting to be uncovered. In this episode, we embark on a journey into the unknown, exploring South Carolina's most infamous haunted locations. These are not mere stories. They are deeply rooted in history, folklore, and countless first-hand accounts from those brave enough, or unfortunate enough, to witness the supernatural firsthand. Whether it's the ghostly echoes of Civil War battles, the lingering presence of tragic lovers, or the unexplained phenomena plaguing centuries-old buildings, these sites serve as portals to another dimension, one where the line between life and death blurs, and the spirits of the past refuse to fade. As we delve deeper into these eerie locales, prepare yourself for tales that will send shivers down your spine and leave you questioning what lies beyond our mortal realm. From haunted plantations to cursed forests, cryptic graveyards to abandoned asylums, South Carolina offers a treasure trove of paranormal intrigue. So, grab your flashlight, steady your nerves, and join us as we peel back the veil of the ordinary to reveal the sinister secrets hidden within the Palmetto State's haunted heart. The Old Exchange and Provost Dungeon. Shadows beneath the streets. Nestled in the historic district of Charleston, the Old Exchange and Provost Dungeon stands as a grim reminder of South Carolina's tumultuous colonial past. Built in 1771, this iconic structure served multiple purposes over the centuries, functioning as a customs house, a meeting place for revolutionaries, and, most infamously, a holding cell for prisoners during both the American Revolutionary War and the Civil War. Its lower level, known as the Provost Dungeon, was notorious for its brutal conditions, earning a reputation as one of the darkest and deadliest corners of colonial America. Today, it remains one of the state's most haunted sites, drawing curious visitors who dare to step into its shadowy depths. During the Revolutionary War, the dungeon housed British loyalists, pirates, and captured American patriots awaiting trial or execution. Conditions were unspeakably harsh. Prisoners were shackled in near-total darkness, subjected to extreme overcrowding, and left to succumb to disease, starvation, or madness. Many perished within the damp stone walls, their bodies buried hastily in unmarked graves nearby. One particularly chilling account involves a group of local women accused of aiding the Patriot cause. Imprisoned without trial, they endured weeks of torment before being released, but not before several succumbed to illness brought on by the dungeon's squalid environment. Their anguished cries, witnesses claim, still echo through the corridors late at night. The haunting legacy of the Provost Dungeon extends beyond its Revolutionary-era horrors. During the Civil War, Union forces repurposed the space as a temporary jail for Confederate soldiers. Tales abound of men driven to despair by the oppressive atmosphere, with some reportedly taking their own lives rather than face further imprisonment. Visitors today often report hearing faint moans and rattling chains emanating from the dungeon's depths, accompanied by sudden drops in temperature and an overwhelming sense of dread. Some even described seeing shadowy figures huddled against the walls, their faces gaunt and hollow-eyed, only to vanish when approached. One of the most persistent legends surrounding the old exchange revolves around the spirit of a young girl named Annabelle. According to lore, she was held captive in the dungeon after being falsely accused of witchcraft in the early 18th century. Her fate remains unknown, but her presence is said to linger in the building's upper levels. Staff members and tour guides recount strange occurrences attributed to Annabelle: books falling off shelves, doors slamming shut on their own, and the faint sound of giggling echoing through empty halls. On occasion, guests have reported feeling an inexplicable tug on their clothing, as though a small hand were reaching out to them. Modern-day paranormal investigators have conducted numerous expeditions within the Old Exchange and Provost Dungeon, capturing compelling evidence of its supernatural inhabitants. Thermal imaging cameras have detected cold spots concentrated in specific areas, particularly near the dungeon's entrance and along the eastern wall. EVP, electronic voice phenomenon, recordings revealed disembodied voices whispering fragmented phrases like "help me" and "let me go." Perhaps the most unsettling discovery came during a live investigation broadcast online. Viewers watching the feed spotted a translucent figure darting across the screen in real time, prompting widespread speculation about the nature of the entities haunting the site, despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation. The Old Exchange and Provost Dungeon remains a popular destination for tourists eager to immerse themselves in Charleston's rich history. Guided tours offer visitors the chance to explore its eerie chambers while learning about the events that shaped its grim legacy. For those brave enough to descend into the dungeon itself, the experience is nothing short of bone-chilling. As you stand amidst the musty air and flickering lantern light, it's impossible not to feel the weight of centuries' worth of suffering pressing down upon you. Yet, the allure of the Old Exchange lies not only in its historical significance but also in the tantalizing possibility of encountering something otherworldly. Whether you're drawn by curiosity, fascination, or sheer bravado, this haunted landmark promises an unforgettable encounter with the supernatural. It serves as a stark reminder that the ghosts of South Carolina's past are never far behind, and sometimes, they're closer than you think. The Battery Carriage House Inn, a haven for spirits perched atop a bluff overlooking Charleston Harbor, the Battery Carriage House Inn is as enchanting as it is eerie. This boutique bed and breakfast, nestled within the historic district of Charleston, exudes all the charm one would expect from a 19th-century carriage house-turned-luxury inn. Yet beneath its polished wood floors and elegant furnishings lies a labyrinth of secrets and spectral activity that has earned it a reputation as one of South Carolina's most haunted hotels. Guests seeking respite in its quaint rooms often find themselves sharing the space with unseen companions whose presence lingers long after checkout. Among the inn's most infamous residents is the spirit known simply as the Headless Torso. According to legend, this apparition belongs to a Confederate soldier who lost his life under mysterious circumstances during the Civil War. His torso, discovered near the property, was buried hastily without proper ceremony, leaving his soul restless and bound to the premises. Witnesses describe seeing a shadowy figure clad in tattered military garb wandering the halls at night, his silhouette lacking a head. The sensation of being watched is palpable in certain areas, particularly room 8, where guests have reported waking up to find the figure standing at the foot of their bed, gazing silently before vanishing into thin air. Another recurring presence is believed to be that of a jilted bride named N. Her story begins in the late 1800s, when she arrived at the inn intending to elope with her lover. Betrayed and abandoned on what should have been her wedding day, and took her own life in despair. Her tragic end has left an indelible mark on the property, with many claiming to encounter her ghost in room 10. Visitors staying in this room frequently report hearing soft sobbing emanating from the bathroom, only to discover it empty upon investigation. Adding to the inn's haunted lore is the playful entity affectionately dubbed The boy ghost. Believed to be the spirit of a young boy who died tragically on the property, he manifests primarily through mischievous antics. Items such as jewelry, keys, or toiletries often go missing, only to reappear days later in odd locations. Guests recount experiences of feeling tiny hands tugging at their clothes or hearing faint laughter echoing through the corridors. Some even swear they've seen a small, translucent figure darting between rooms, disappearing before they can react. Paranormal investigators who have explored the Battery Carriage House and describe it as a veritable hotbed of supernatural activity. EMF detectors routinely spike in certain areas, particularly near the staircase leading to the basement and the attic above room 6. EVP recordings capture faint whispers and giggles, interspersed with louder exclamations that seem directed at those conducting the investigation. One team captured footage of a door opening and closing repeatedly on its own, despite no breeze or mechanical malfunction to explain the phenomenon. Despite its haunted reputation, the inn remains a beloved destination for travelers eager to experience its unique blend of luxury and the macabre. Owners make no secret of its spectral inhabitants, instead embracing them as part of the property's allure. For those brave enough to book a stay, the promise of encountering a Confederate soldier, a heartbroken bride, or a playful child adds an element of excitement and trepidation to their visit. Yet, as each new guest steps across the threshold, they must decide whether they are ready to confront the shadows lurking within these walls, or risk becoming another chapter in the inn's haunted history. The Litchfield Plantation, echoes of antebellum shadows tucked away in the lush countryside of Pawleys Island, South Carolina. The Litchfield Plantation stands as a haunting relic of the antebellum South. Originally established in the early 18th century, this sprawling estate once thrived as a rice plantation, its fields tended by enslaved laborers whose toil built fortunes for their masters. Today, the plantation operates as a luxury resort and golf club, offering visitors a glimpse into the opulence of a bygone era. However, beneath its manicured lawns and stately oak trees lies a darker history, one steeped in tragedy, injustice, and the restless spirits of those who suffered within its bounds. One of the most enduring legends tied to Litchfield Plantation centers on the ghost of Emily Whaley, a young woman believed to have lived on the property during the mid-19th century. Described as beautiful yet fragile, Emily fell victim to the societal constraints of her time, forced into an arranged marriage with a man twice her age. Her unhappiness culminated in a fateful night when she fled to the nearby marshes, hoping to escape her suffocating existence. Tragically, she drowned in the murky waters, her body discovered days later entangled in the roots of ancient cypress trees. Since then, guests and staff alike have reported seeing a pale figure dressed in flowing white garments wandering the grounds near the marsh, her expression one of eternal sorrow. Some claim to hear faint sobbing carried on the wind, while others describe feeling an icy chill pass through them as they approach the water's edge. Another prominent figure in the plantation's haunted narrative is Captain John Bolton, a former owner who met a violent end during the Civil War. A staunch supporter of the Confederacy, Bolton was ambushed by Union soldiers while attempting to protect his land. Mortally wounded, he staggered back to the plantation house, where he collapsed and bled to death on the grand staircase. To this day, visitors recount seeing bloodstains mysteriously appear on the wooden steps, despite repeated cleanings. The sound of heavy boots ascending the staircase is often heard late at night, accompanied by the distant clinking of spurs. Several guests staying in the master bedroom have reported waking up to find a man in Confederate uniform standing at the foot of their bed, his gaze fixed and unblinking before he dissipates into nothingness. The plantation's slave quarters, now converted into guest cottages, are also focal points of paranormal activity. Enslaved workers endured unimaginable hardships here, subjected to grueling labor, cramped living conditions, and systemic cruelty. Their collective anguish seems to permeate the very fabric of the structures, manifesting as disembodied voices, phantom footsteps, and inexplicable cold spots. One particularly chilling account comes from a couple staying in one of the cottages, who swore they saw shadowy figures moving about the room in the middle of the night. When they switched on the lights, the figures vanished, leaving behind an oppressive silence that lingered until dawn. Despite, or perhaps because of, Its haunted reputation, the Litchfield Plantation, continues to attract curious travelers eager to immerse themselves in its storied past. Golfers teeing off at sunrise often speak of hearing faint hymns sung by unseen voices, while diners at the clubhouse restaurant describe feeling an inexplicable sadness wash over them as they sit beneath portraits of long-dead plantation owners. For those bold enough to spend the night, the opportunity to confront the ghosts of South Carolina's antebellum era offers both terror and fascination. Yet, as each new visitor crosses its threshold, they must ask themselves, are they prepared to face the echoes of slavery and war, or will they become another witness to the plantation's endless cycle of grief? The Old Sheldon Church ruins, a sanctuary of specters hidden among the moss-draped oaks and quiet pathways of Beaufort County, lies the Old Sheldon Church ruins, a hauntingly beautiful testament to resilience and loss. Originally constructed in 1753, this Greek Revival-style church stood as a beacon of faith and community for early settlers of the region. However, its history is marked by destruction and rebirth, making it not only a sacred site but also one of South Carolina's most enigmatic haunted locations. Ravaged twice by fire, in 1779 during the Revolutionary War and again in 1865 during Sherman's March to the Sea, the ruins now stand as skeletal remnants of their former glory, yet they continue to draw visitors who seek solace, reflection, or perhaps a brush with the supernatural. One of the most persistent legends surrounding the Old Sheldon Church ruins involves the spirit of a young bride named Sarah. According to local lore, Sarah was set to marry her childhood sweetheart in the church's original sanctuary. On the eve of her wedding, however, she ventured into the nearby woods to gather wildflowers for her bouquet and never returned. Search parties scoured the area but found no trace of her, save for a single torn piece of her gown caught on a thorny bush. Some believe she fell victim to foul play, while others speculate she became disoriented and succumbed to the elements. Regardless of the truth, her ghost is said to haunt the ruins, appearing as a translucent figure in a tattered wedding dress. Visitors often report seeing her glide silently between the crumbling columns, her face obscured by a veil of sorrow. Others claim to hear soft humming or faint organ music drifting through the air, despite the absence of any instruments. Equally chilling is the tale of Reverend Thomas Hazel, a clergyman who served the congregation in the years leading up to the Civil War. Known for his fiery sermons and unwavering devotion, Hazel was rumored to harbor a dark secret. He had fathered a child out of wedlock with a woman from the community. When the scandal threatened to unravel his reputation, Hazel allegedly took drastic measures to silence her, though details remain murky. After his death, parishioners claimed to see his ghost pacing the churchyard at night, wringing his hands as if plagued by guilt. Modern visitors recount similar sightings, describing a gaunt figure in clerical robes wandering aimlessly among the ruins, occasionally pausing to stare directly at them before vanishing without a sound. The churchyard itself, dotted with weathered tombstones and overgrown vegetation, is another hotspot of paranormal activity. Many graves date back to the 18th and 19th centuries, their inscriptions faded by time and neglect. Yet the souls interred here seem unwilling to rest. Tourists exploring the grounds have reported feeling an inexplicable heaviness in certain areas, as though weighed down by unseen hands. Others describe hearing whispers emanating from the earth, as if the dead are trying to communicate from beyond the grave. One particularly unsettling account comes from a photographer who swore he captured an image of a face peering out from behind a toppled headstone, a face that bore no resemblance to anyone living. Paranormal investigators who have explored the Old Sheldon Church ruins describe it as a place where the veil between worlds feels unusually thin. Thermal cameras detect cold spots concentrated near the altar and along the perimeter of the ruins, suggesting residual energy trapped within the stones. EVP recordings reveal fragmented voices speaking in hushed tones, some pleading for help, others issuing warnings in garbled phrases. Perhaps the most spine-tingling discovery came during a nighttime expedition. A team member claimed to feel fingers brushing lightly against the back of his neck, only to turn around and find himself completely alone. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, the Old Sheldon Church ruins remain a popular destination for history buffs, photographers, and thrill-seekers alike. The Moonlight Bridge, a portal to the unknown stretching over the murky waters of the Congaree River near Columbia, South Carolina. The Moonlight Bridge is more than just a decaying span of steel and concrete, it is a threshold to the unknown. Once a vital artery connecting rural communities, the bridge fell into disrepair decades ago, its structural integrity compromised by neglect and the relentless march of time. Today, it stands as a desolate monument to isolation and despair, shrouded in myths of curses, disappearances, and malevolent entities that prey on unsuspecting travelers. Locals avoid crossing it after sunset, whispering tales of those who entered its shadowy embrace and never returned. The origins of the Moonlight Bridge's sinister reputation date back to the early 20th century, when it became infamous as the site of numerous suicides. Despondent individuals would climb its rusting railings and leap into the river below, their bodies often lost forever in the swift currents. Over time, these tragedies gave rise to rumors of a curse cast by a scorned lover who had taken her own life there. According to legend, she vowed to claim the souls of anyone foolish enough to cross the bridge at night, ensuring that her loneliness would be shared by others. Drivers passing over the bridge late at night report hearing faint cries carried on the wind, while pedestrians describe feeling an inexplicable pull toward the edge, as if invisible hands were urging them closer to the abyss. Perhaps the most chilling aspect of the Moonlight Bridge is its association with unexplained disappearances. Countless reports detail vehicles breaking down inexplicably midway across, their engines sputtering and dying without warning. Passengers stepping out to investigate often vanish without a trace, leaving behind personal belongings and unanswered questions. In one particularly harrowing incident, a family of 4 attempted to cross the bridge during a storm. Witnesses claimed to see flashes of light illuminating the structure, followed by an eerie silence. Rescue teams later found the abandoned car, its doors wide open and interior soaked with rain, but no sign of the occupants. Authorities dismissed the case as a probable drowning, yet locals insist the victims fell victim to something far more sinister. Adding to the bridge's haunted lore are the ghostly apparitions said to wander its length. Travelers recount seeing shadowy figures standing motionless on the roadway, their forms dissolving into mist when approached. Some describe encountering a woman in tattered clothing walking slowly along the railing, her face obscured by long, tangled hair. Attempts to offer assistance are met with failure, the figure vanishes before contact can be made. Others report hearing the sound of footsteps echoing behind them, only to turn and find no one there. The sensation of being watched is pervasive, creating an atmosphere of unease that lingers long after leaving the bridge behind. Paranormal investigators who have dared to explore the Moonlight Bridge describe it as a vortex of negative energy. EMF detectors routinely spike in certain areas, particularly near the center of the span and along the riverbank below. Audio recordings capture faint whispers muttering indistinct phrases, interspersed with anguished screams that seem to emanate from the depths of the water. One investigator captured footage of what appears to be a humanoid figure crouching on the railing, its glowing eyes fixed on the camera before leaping into the void. The video quickly went viral, sparking heated debates about the nature of the entity haunting the bridge. Patterns across South Carolina's haunted legacy. As we delve deeper into the haunted history of South Carolina, a striking pattern emerges. A tapestry woven with threads of unresolved trauma, architectural resonance, and sensory manipulation. These elements transcend individual sites, binding the Old Exchange and Provost Dungeon, the Battery Carriage House Inn, the Litchfield Plantation, the Old Sheldon Church ruins, and the Moonlight Bridge together in a shared narrative of spectral unrest. Each location, though unique in its story, reflects universal themes that underscore humanity's enduring fascination with the supernatural. Unresolved trauma lies at the heart of nearly every haunting tale. Whether it's the tortured souls of prisoners in the Provost Dungeon, the jilted bride of the Battery Carriage House Inn, or the enslaved workers of Litchfield Plantation, these spirits are tethered to the earthly realm by grievances left unaddressed. Their presence manifests as emotional residues, cries, whispers, or disembodied voices that serve as pleas for acknowledgement or closure. This theme resonates universally, tapping into the human need to resolve conflict and seek peace, even in death. It's no coincidence that many reported hauntings occur in spaces imbued with emotional significance, dungeons where lives were extinguished, bedrooms where hearts were broken, or fields where injustices unfolded. Architecture plays an equally pivotal role in amplifying paranormal activity. Historic sites like the Old Sheldon Church ruins and the Moonlight Bridge, with their crumbling facades and isolated settings, create environments conducive to isolating individuals and heightening fear. These structural elements act as metaphors for psychological barriers erected by those who suffered within their confines, trapping emotions such as anger, despair, and regret. The decay itself becomes a character in these narratives, symbolizing the fragility of human constructs against the weight of time and memory. Similarly, enclosed spaces, such as the Provost Dungeon or the slave quarters of Litchfield Plantation, serve as pressure cookers for anxiety, intensifying feelings of claustrophobia and helplessness. Sensory manipulation is another hallmark of South Carolina's haunted locales. Flickering lights, sudden temperature drops, and inexplicable odors are staples of ghostly encounters designed to disorient and unsettle. Such phenomena strip away the comfort of familiarity, forcing visitors to confront the unknown. Mirrors, too, feature prominently in stories from the Battery Carriage House Inn and other sites, adding layers of psychological tension as reflections distort perception and blur the boundary between self and other. This interplay of light and shadow becomes a tool wielded by unseen forces, creating visceral moments of terror that linger long after the initial shock subsides. Finally, the prevalence of historical context cannot be overstated. Each haunted site draws its power from the socio-cultural milieu of its time. The Civil War brutality embedded in Litchfield Plantation contrasts sharply with the glamorous yet tragic lives immortalized at the Battery Carriage House Inn. Yet both narratives tap into broader archetypes of ambition, betrayal, and mortality, ensuring their resonance with audiences regardless of personal experience. By drawing on these universal motifs, South Carolina's haunted places transform from mere locations into living repositories of collective memory, inviting us to peer into the abyss of our shared humanity. The enduring allure of haunted places. What is it about haunted places that captivates us so deeply? At their core, these spectral sanctuaries serve as mirrors reflecting our most primal fears and curiosities. They embody the duality of human existence, our simultaneous yearning for connection and our dread of isolation. Within their walls, shadows stretch longer, whispers grow louder, and the mundane transforms into the extraordinary. These sites compel us to confront the unknown, challenging our understanding of reality and forcing us to grapple with the uncomfortable truth that some mysteries may never be solved. Haunted places tap into our innate fascination with storytelling. Every creaking floorboard, every flicker of candlelight, and every disembodied voice contributes to a larger narrative that transcends individual experiences. Whether it's the tragic love affair immortalized in the Battery Carriage House Inn or the wartime horrors etched into the Old Exchange and Provost Dungeon, these tales resonate because they reflect universal themes of loss, betrayal, and redemption. They remind us that history is not merely a sequence of dates and events but a living, breathing entity shaped by the emotions and actions of those who came before us. Moreover, these haunted locales provide a safe space to explore fear itself. In an era dominated by technology and predictability, the unknown holds a peculiar allure. Stepping into a reputedly haunted site allows us to flirt with danger without genuine risk, indulging in adrenaline-fueled thrills while knowing we can retreat to the safety of daylight. This controlled exposure to terror satisfies our innate desire for adventure, making haunted places a unique form of escapism. Ultimately, the enduring appeal of haunted sites lies in their ability to bridge worlds, past and present, living and dead, known and unknowable. They invite us to step outside the boundaries of logic and embrace the ineffable, reminding us that the line between fact and fiction, reality and imagination, is far thinner than we might believe. As long as humans seek to understand the mysteries of existence, haunted places will remain beacons of intrigue, beckoning us to unlock their secrets, one trembling step at a time.